Reference, it's a type. What the fuck?
The Rip Bike Reviews.
Hey guys, hope everyone's well. I'm currently riding on Christmas Eve. Gonna go for a ride, hit the motorway, head to the Iron Bull, see if they're open. If they're open, I'll get a quick little coffee. But I thought my plan is to, I wouldn't call it long term if I'm honest, because I haven't had the bike that long, but I thought I'd do about a 6-month review on the 114 one, which is the one I've got. I've not ridden the 117, so I don't know. I don't know what that's like. I know the rear suspension on the 117's a little taller, a little nicer, and obviously they've got that extra 3 cubic inch. Since I've had the bike for about 6 months, it's not going to be as in depth as other people's reviews on the bike. But I've been pretty blown away by the bike. There's got a few things that I don't like that I'll get into, but before this bike I had a Dyna, the Fat Bob, which is, some say it's not a real Dyna, but I thought it is. I really like that bike. That bike was awesome. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this bike. It's been really nice. I've ridden a few Harleys here and there. I think I rode my Fat Bob, which was quite a big bike, the Dyna. I've ridden my mom's Fat Bob, which she has the 2023, obviously the Milwaukee 8 one with the Softail frame, and that thing's really nice. Completely different, by the way, which I'll get more into when I ride that bike. I'll do a video on that bike separately, but I'll compare these two bikes thing. And then I've ridden the 114 Breakout, which my stepdad has, which is also a very cool bike. I'm not a big fan of the way the Breakout handles, if I'm honest, because it hasn't really got anything in the way of ground clearance, and the pegs scrape if you look at them funny. But it's a very cool bike, undoubtedly. But yeah, so I bought this bike in June. I rode it for about a week, and then I went on holiday for 3.5 weeks. And I've only put about 3,000 miles on the bikes in the last 6 months, which isn't a whole lot to some people. It is a fair amount for quite a lot of Harley riders in this country, just because people normally put them away for the winter because they don't want to ruin the bike. Sorry if I'm stuck behind traffic. I'm not really going to be too aggressive today. There's no point. Apparently the drivers are not very good on the roads around this time. I don't trust people. So I'm just going to take it easy. It's been a really nice bike to own. I love the way it looks. I have the Vantonines grenades on here for exhausts. I bought the bike as you see it. It's pretty much as it is. The only thing I've done to the bike since I've owned it is I've added cruise control on, because I get it really bad. My right hand gets really sore. I'm not too sure why. It's just like, even now I have to put wide pressure, otherwise I can't really grip onto it properly. And I've changed the seat to a stock Sport Glide seat, because they pretty much stay the same pretty much in terms of fitment, because I want to be able to carry a passenger at some point, potentially, if I keep the bike. We'll get more onto whether I'm keeping it or not later on. So the only thing I've done is change the seat and put cruise control on, and I've inverted the mirrors so I could actually see behind me, because in the stock position you can't see anything. All I could see was my elbows, and that was not very useful. I've enjoyed the bike, but I've got to admit, it's not the most exciting bike, but for a Harley, right, that weighs that weighs 320 or 330 kilos. It handles really well, which has been a lot of fun. Like, I mean, you can lean pretty far over before you hit the pegs. But I won't talk too much just because I'm not sure the audio quality is going to be good on the motorway. So I'll talk more when I get off the motorway. The wind protection, as you can tell on the stock Lowrider S, is almost non-existent. The problem is the buffering more than anything. Like, my head is shaking around like a motherfucker, which you probably can't see because of the stabilization on the GoPro, but if I tuck a little bit it's not too bad. But the bikini fairing, it doesn't do nothing, but it doesn't help. But I won't subject you to any more of that. I know wind noise is really annoying. I will say though, the fuel range on this bike is it's awful. If I'm lucky, I'll get like 120, 100 miles out of a tank. And it's not a small tank, I think it's a 5-gallon tank. But the only defense that has is if the bike sounds as good as this bike sounds, then I don't mind too much. You're basically turning gasoline, turning petrol into noise, and it's a pretty good noise, so. Yeah, it's a pretty cool noise. So I don't mind it so much. We're almost here at the Iron Bull. This video will probably be filmed over a couple days, just because the weather's not too great right now, and I want to do like a cool walk around for you guys, just because I might be able to do that now actually. If the parking lot's not busy, I'll do a quick little walk around. But it's windy and groggy. I will say this bike does have like one of the best deceleration sounds ever. Is it open? Is it open? Is it open? If it's not open, I'll just turn around. I see Nick's car. It's open. I can't tell you what this place, the Iron Bull's done for me. I know the Michelin Flyer put out a bit of a iffy review for it, but this place has done so much for me as a motorcyclist. I've met so many amazing people here. I probably will do the walk around afterwards just because there's people here. Hello mate. Good, you? Nice to see you. I saw your bike and I was like, oh, I know who's here. Yeah, right. All troubles here. Hello. Right, I just had a quick coffee at the Iron Bull. Just say Merry Christmas to everyone. It was very nice. And yeah, I'm gonna take a slow ride home. I won't take the motorway again just because I can't talk on the motorway. It's just it's windy today, so not only can I not hear myself, it's just not fun. So I'm gonna take the slow way home. Can have a chat about the bike. This is it. It's pretty standard. Nothing really too crazy about it. And it does have the forward controls rather than the mid controls, which is really nice. You can't see the paint job, but it glitters in the sun. Maybe you can see it slightly. But it's a pretty cool paint job. No idea who did it, where they got it done, but it's pretty sick. I've inverted the mirrors, like I said. What else have I done? I've got a rain sock on here just because it's winter and you never know when you get caught out in the rain. I've got these pipes on, but I'm kind of annoyed with them. I don't know if you can see this rust over here already starting to form. These get washed relatively often and there's rust. This paint has come off and now it's rusting here. So if I do end up keeping the bike long term, I want to put some 2-into-1s, a 2-into-1 exhaust on here rather than this 2-into-2. It does sound good, but I don't like rust. Rust pisses me off. It still needs a clean though. As you can tell, there's some watery bits and stuff on the casing and stuff there. It's got these really fucking bright LED indicators, which are sick. Let me start it and have a look. Yeah, super bright, and they're nice and sleek. I need to do the front ones as well. That'd be pretty cool. You can kind of see the paint job there. Very cool. That sound will never get old. That's the thing though, in my opinion. That's like the biggest thing these Harley Davidsons have, is just the sound of them. I mean, not everyone loves them, or the sound, don't get me wrong. It's a personal preference thing, but me personally, I think they just sound absolutely fucking insane. Let me turn this heated gear on. Let's put it on low, just to take the chill away. Yeah, I do love having a Harley Davidson, just because it was a dream of mine. I think it was the movie called, I'll put it up on screen, but the Hog Riders movie. It was so stupid, but it was such a funny movie. They're looking at me like, what are you doing, bro? I don't know, fucking around. They're not too hard to two-finger clutch either. But I think you can adjust that. You can adjust a clutch though. I'm a prick. And cruise control, like that. I don't know how many of you know this, but I suppose probably quite a few of you. But the Lowrider S, the first edition of it, well, they might have, okay, I'm pretty sure the first edition was the Dyna Lowrider S, which ran from, I think, 2015 or 16 to the end of the twin cam era, which was, I think, roughly to 2017, 2018. I think the first Milwaukee 8 came out in 2017 in the form of the Road King 107 and the touring bikes. Whoa, that wind. One of my pet peeves on a bike that are as expensive as these bikes are, I think they go for like 17 grand, 17, 18 grand brand new. It should come with everything from the factory, as in like a cruise control, for example. The original Lowrider S, the twin cam one, the 110, that came with cruise control from the factory. You bought that bike and you had cruise control. But this one, the Milwaukee 8 one, you have to add it. And oh, to some people's like, oh, it's not that much money. Yeah, excuse me. I think I'll put the price up on screen, but I think it is like 250 or 300 pounds just for the unit itself. And if you don't want to fit it yourself and you want someone else to fit it for you, more money. What they charge, almost like 100 pounds per hour. So you pay 100 pounds just for them to fit it quickly. I mean, I fit mine by myself because it's actually pretty easy to do. On the Lowrider S, I just watched a YouTube video like twice. I watched, I think, 2 different YouTube videos, and then when the part came in, it took me 10 minutes to do it. It really wasn't that difficult to do. But it's still, I shouldn't, for a bike that's as expensive as this one, you shouldn't be paying extra for fucking cruise control when the tech's already on the bike. All they have to do is switch it on. So when you put the cruise control on, most of the time, so if your bike hasn't been like fiddled with in the past, you then have to take your bike to Harley Davidson and they plug a computer into it and they'll turn cruise control on. The bike is already equipped with the technology to do it, but they don't give you the switch for it. And for a bike that costs, even if the bike cost 14 grand brand new, it should come with cruise control. It's a cruiser, man. You cruise. A lot of the time you sit there at the same sort of speed. So that's my opinion. I think these bikes should come standard with cruise control. I think every bike bar the the Sportsters, which I think the Sportsters do come with it. I could be wrong. I think when you talk about value for money, you can't, it's not really a conversation you can have with these bikes, because you could argue what you're paying for is a bike that does what it does, and it's the only one bikes that do it. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. It depends on how you see it. But no, yeah, the Indians, don't get me wrong, the Indian bikes, wicked bikes, wicked bikes. I've never ridden one, so I can't tell you. From what I've heard, they're very nice bikes. They do what it says on the tin. It's just, they're just good bikes. And I think, and I really hope that they eventually start taking more of the market share and get a better name for themselves, because in my opinion, all competition is good competition. I'd say the big pluses with this bike is the handling is pretty good. It's not as nimble or as sharp as the Fat Bob. I'm pretty sure the Fat Bob has a steeper rake angle, which makes it a bit more like flickery. But this bike is incredibly stable in turns, and it holds its line. There's no more gears. It holds its line really well, and it's very. I feel very confident on the bike, and I have done since the day I picked it up. I've not had any rides where I'm like, oh, you know, this bike can't do enough. It's not good enough. Yeah, if you go ride with people on sport bikes or naked bikes or pretty nimble bikes, and they're pretty competent riders, and even if you're a competent rider, it'd be hard work to keep up. But you probably could, but it'd be a lot harder work on one of these, just because it's still 100 kilos more, and in some cases even more than that. And it's, on horsepower wise, it's a bit down. It's got a lot of torque, which is a lot of fun, up until the national speed limit of 70. Man, I can't wait for my new visor to arrive. I bought a new visor for my Ruroc helmet just because I wanted to change. I mean, I've been using this helmet for, I'd say, well, I think almost a year. And the pin lock for it has like, it just doesn't work anymore. So I thought, I'll treat myself, a little Christmas present, well, another one, and get a new visor. So I got like the silver one. I think it's gonna look really good on my helmet. I'll put a picture on screen what it should look like on the helmet, because I've been using I use the black one all the time. I'm using the black one at the moment. I don't really have too many complaints about the bike, if I'm honest, just because it does what it does, and it does it pretty well. It's not, you know, you can't compare this to, for example, the MT-10 or any sort of naked bike, or even the GS. The GS I rode far more comfortable. I mean, I could make this bike more comfortable, but that would include me having to buy some risers, which I might do actually. Buy some risers, give it a different screen like the Memphis Shades Road Warrior, and just do some other, just spend more money. I'd have to just spend more money, and the bike would be very comfortable. I've got nothing besides it's got a stage 1 on it, for the intake and exhaust, but I haven't done anything else to it, because again, that's just crazy money. I'd love to get like I don't know if I'd get a horsepower cam, like a 575, or like a torque cam, like a 475. I'm not sure. I think I'd get the torque one, not gonna lie. Just because that makes it a little bit more... makes it a little bit more fun to ride on the road. Harley Davidson ownership is really quite fun if you've got the money to spend. It's they're very customizable bikes. Yeah, they've got aftermarket for days, but it all costs, like modifying any bike really, it all costs so much money to do that if you want to buy, if you want a good bike from the showroom floor that's just good, it's got everything you need. I mean, yeah, maybe it doesn't sound the best because it needs a pipe, maybe, you know, maybe you want a spotlight or little accent pieces, you know. For example, if you buy what's a comparable bike? If you buy the Africa Twin, for example, right? Completely different type of bike, don't get me wrong, I understand that. Or even the Honda Rebel 1100T, which is what, like 11 grand or something like that, close to that. That comes with cruise control. It's got an electronic dash. It's got a little screen. It's got bags. I think the biggest point is whether you like Harley Davidsons or not, or if you think they're worth it or not, is down to personal preference. It's a type... What the fuck? It's a special kind of bike. It makes a cool noise. They look really cool in my opinion. This bike looks sick, especially with this cool paint job. And for example, and this is not to put down any other bikes, but if you go to a bike night, for example the Iron Bull bike night that I go to every Thursday, especially during the summer, I'm sorry, but Harley Davidsons, they'll get a couple more looks, and you might not care about that, and that's fair. But you know, sometimes people are like, I spent all this money on this bike and I want other people to think it's cool too. You know, I don't think that's a bad thing. Otherwise, why would you go buy cool bikes? It's not 100% just for your entertainment, is it? But yeah, I love the bike. I'm still struggling on whether or not I'm going to keep it, mainly because of my age. I'm 23. The insurance is crazy. I was £1,500 last year, and the word on the block is it's going up. So if my insurance goes up, I'm not doing it. I'll hand the bike back. I'll get something else. I don't know what else I'll get, but I'll probably get something that's worth less money, just so that I'm not getting absolutely destroyed by insurance. And they're really easy to slow speed. I mean, the weight's really low down, and the bike's really long, so it stays stable for quite a while, which is quite nice. The clutch, and because the bikes, like I said in the MT video, high torque bikes are quite easy to ride because there's plenty of go and not much fuss, you know. What a prick. But lane filtering and lane splitting and on this bike, on these British tight roads, can be quite tricky sometimes, especially because if you look how wide the pegs go, it allows quite a lot of control. Like, if I'm not going to put any pressure on my hands, if I use my feet, it's quite easy to use that in conjunction with your counter steering and your normal steering to make the bike behave, you know. So filtering on this bike is pretty good. This is probably going to be longer than my other videos, just because I've probably got more I want to say. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you know, take this footage out and see what I've said, and then I'll cover some more points or elaborate further on them. But that'll do it for this section, and I'll catch you after Christmas. Right, it's a couple days later. It's Boxing Day. I hope everyone had a nice Christmas. We've got a week of really terrible weather coming up. I was planning on doing this part of the video tomorrow, but yeah, I'm not doing the rest of the video in the rain, so I'm gonna avoid doing that. I won't make this too much longer, just because, you know, I've already edited the first half of the video, and it's at like 25 minutes. I'll see if I can get any more off. I don't want to make it too long because I don't want to waste anyone's time. But basically what I was planning, I was gonna maybe do it a bit more structured, but I feel like there's, you know, there's other channels that do more structured stuff, and realistically they'll just do it better than me. For now, one day I'll get there, but I think I'm just gonna keep it how I've done it the last couple of videos. I'm just gonna say it how it is. My plan is to go to the this really big parking lot just now, so I can film a bit of B-roll, and then I'm gonna give you a summary. I'll basically start from the beginning. I won't make it long, and I'm just gonna tell you what I like about it, what I don't like. Would I recommend the bike? Spoiler alert, yeah, I would. But kind of why I would recommend the bike, and who I would recommend it for, and things to look out for. This bike. I think I can do a quick summary on the bike. Obviously, I really love the bike. It's like, for me, I think one of the best Harley Davidsons that they make. My favorite's the Road King Special, but I'm a little fanboy over that bike. I think that's the best bike. I think that's the best looking cruiser in the world. Maybe the Road Glide ST looks kind of on par for me, but the Road King Special, oh. I went to go to park at my normal spot, but it was closed, which was kind of weird. But anyway, so this will be the first place I do a walk around. You know, it's pretty lovely. I'm luckily it's not busy, because that'd be kind of awkward. There's no one to make me feel awkward. So, so I'll start with the negatives, just because, you know, that's just kind of, I think, what you want to know straight away. Negatives about the bike, I'll start with the super small stuff. The weight. It's a 300 plus kilo bike. I'll put it up on screen. You know, I'll put it up on screen, and you see it's a heavy bike. It does mean it's very planted when you ride. It cruises really well. It's a cruiser because of how, I mean, you can see how long the thing is. The thing is almost as long as a fucking car. So it cruises really well when you're on the motorway or the highway. You don't get pushed around. You don't. You'll go past the truck, and if it's a nice clear, nice normal day, you don't get messed around, which is super nice. It's super confidence inspiring on the motorway. I get on the motorway, chuck it at 70, 75, and I just sit there. And on a clear day where there's no winds, kind of like today, how you can see how there's no movements in the trees, nothing. It's lovely. The wind protection I did mention earlier. It was fairly windy, to be fair, so that kind of also doesn't help. So I'll add a note in that section just saying to check back here. But the wind protection's fine on a clear day, no wind, nothing. It does a decent job. If somehow it breaks up the wind to a way that you're still getting hit in the face and the chest, but it's smooth rather than violent like it was for me earlier, which was a couple days ago. But it's nice, and there's no wind. There's a slight breeze, but it's a nice breeze. The riding position, I think I could alter it slightly. My plan is to move these slightly this way, just to give me a little thing. I've got quite long arms. I've got like a 2.1 meter wingspan. For some reason, I'm like an ape. And my upper back gets really sore. After about an hour or so of riding, I'm ready to go to bed. Maybe I'm just a wuss. That's very possible. Damn, look how clean those are. Look how unclean that is. But like, for example, I went to Hailing Island. I did a couple sunrise photo shoots there. And after getting back home after the sunrise, and well, I suppose the cold as well, but it just not being very comfortable, I was shot. normally would get home and I would sleep for about a couple hours. But that's not just this bike. I think a lot of that's to do with the cold, because my last bike, which was the Dyno, which also had no wind protection, that was loose, lol. Also had no wind protection. I also was tired after that, so wind protection would be great. If I could, I would love to put the Memphis Shades fairing on here. To be honest, I probably wouldn't go Memphis Shades because it's 600 quid for the kit, whereas I can go on a Motir or something and get 150 quid one, which, yeah, you kind of know it's not a Memphis Shades and you know it's not the real thing, but who fucking cares? It's about getting that wind a little bit dispersed. I don't know whether I'm keeping it or not. I probably won't. Knowing me, I'm ADHD with motorcycles. I want a different motorcycle every year. If I could, I would have a different motorcycle every 6 months. But I've had 2 Harleys now, 3 cruisers, and I've been on a cruiser for almost 3 years, and I kind of want something a bit different. I'm only 23 years old. I kind of need to have a little bit of fun. I kind of want I want a nice adventure bike, which is also an old person bike, or a sport touring even. A sport touring bike like the Tracer 900, or the GS would do as well, wouldn't it? The GS would do a fine job. Yeah, I want something different. I want to try something else. I don't want a sport bike, like a full-blown sport bike. I just know I won't get on with that for very long. I don't really want a hyper naked either. I'm going to go test ride a couple more. I've only done the MT10, and I need to test ride the S1000R, and then I want to try the Super Duke. I don't really like the way the Super Duke sounds. I feel like it sounds too refined, which is weird, but I want a bit of character. It doesn't really have much character in its sound. No doubt it's an amazing motorcycle, which I'll probably confirm when I ride it. I'll confirm for myself anyway. But let's talk about the positives. The positives, I mean, look at it. I can see about 400 positives. No, but the positives, the bike looks awesome. It's, you know, I've got the forward controls. I don't know what it's like to have the mid controls, because I bought the bike with forward controls on. But it handles so well. I feel like it handles between, I'd say in the middle of like a breakout, which is on the scale of not handling, and the Fat Bob, which is really nimble. The Fat Bob's really, really nimble. But this is kind of in the middle. It feels a bit more planted than the Fat Bob. It feels heavier in a way, but it's like a good type of heavy. It's almost like a sport touring type heavy rather than an adventure bike heavy. Other positives, obviously the bike comes with the 114. I think it's just a regular 114. It's not even like the tuned 114 like the FXDR came with, but it's got the 114, and it's plenty of go. It could do with a stage 2 in my opinion, just to give it a bit more like, oh. That exhaust sounds sick. It's not a 2-into-1, so yes, you could get more power out of a 2-into-1, but these sound fucking awesome. It's got a custom paint job on it. Don't know who did it. You can't see it in here, but it's got some flakes in it and stuff. It is really thin though, because already over here it's fucking coming off. So I need to put some AC50 on there, wipe it nice and clean, and I'm going to try and get some ceramic spray and like do a little pseudo ceramic coating on it, another one, and see if I can just get that to stay as is. Please don't tell me. Okay, let's just do it. Oh, I shot myself. Bike looks cool. It sounds really cool. Handles really well. It's so planted in corners. It just when you get it into the line, it takes some time to turn in. Like if you're used to a GS sport bike, anything that's quite light, or even the Fat Bob, this takes a bit more time to turn in, I feel like, for some reason. So I found, like, when I ride other bikes, for example, like the GS, I'll go to turn in and I'll be like, oh, that's too soon. So that's what I find about this bike in terms of the way it handles. You can't get it over that low. It's fairly low. Like, I've ridden the bike fairly hard, but as you can see, I never really get it to the edge of the tire. I touch pegs both sides, so I think about maybe 5 mil or so away from the edge of the tire, and the same with the back. It goes fairly far over, but you still hit pegs eventually. The gauges I love the dual gauge. I don't like how they've gone to one gauge. I think they should have gone with the dual gauge on the new one. That would be sick. That's what I would do if I could. The Sport Glide seat, I really like it. It gives you a little bit more here, so I notice you sit a bit taller, which is awesome, as you know, it's just awesome. And it gives you quite a good support, and obviously a passenger space. Quad lock, gotta have the quad lock. That shit's awesome. That thing is almost 4 years old. It's still going strong. Hello? Yeah. I'd say if you really want a Harley Davidson, get one. I don't think you should avoid a Harley Davidson. Oops. I don't think you should avoid a Harley Davidson for any sort of reason, just because as long as you know what you're getting. What you're getting is a bike that's not the best at anything, except it looks fucking cool, it sounds fucking cool, and it's a Harley Davidson at the end of the day. I know the name doesn't mean much to many people, but for me it was a tick in the box. I really wanted to tick that box off. It was a dream of mine to own a Harley Davidson, and now I've my second one, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to, you know. It's been a mega bike to own, and at least for the next 6 months I'll still have it, but I probably will swap out to something else. I want to try something else, but I do recommend it. Like, if you was like, should I buy the Lowrider S, should I buy the Street Bob or the Softail Standard, if they're all about the same price, I'd say get this one. Or if the Lowrider S is a little bit more expensive, I'd say get this one. It's sick. You might like the styling of the other ones, that is fair, especially with the Softail Standard and its risers. Not risers, sorry, the ape hangers, the mini apes, the 10 inches I think. Figures wise, the bike, it's around 90 horsepower, around 100 or so foot-pounds of torque. It's got enough go. It's fun. That's how much go it has. It has a fun amount of go. It has enough go to get you in trouble, and you will go over 100 quite easily. You'll go over 100, and it'll probably go to, I think there's a limiter on it, but I reckon it'll hit the 130. It's like, oh, that's not that impressive. No, it's not for a sport bike. But it's not a sport bike. It's 150 kilos heavier than a sport bike, so it's not. You can't compare the two. I love the bike. I think it looks sick. It's treated me really well. I just need to replace the battery, but I keep it on a tender. It's not a big deal. It's treated me really well. I've had no issues with it. I need to take it for its 5,000 mile service next month. Hopefully next month if I can get a booking. And I'll continue riding it until summer. If you're still here, I really appreciate you watching the video. I know it's kind of long. It's supposed to be my longest one. The other ones I'm going to try and not make as long, especially the reviews on other bikes. This has just been different, you know. This is my bike. I've got a lot to say about it. I love the bike. It's wicked. The only thing is I just want to try other stuff. Yeah, I'm not ready to commit. If you think I deserve it, please drop a like, drop a subscribe. I'm really enjoying doing this. It'd be cool to just carry on doing it. You know, it's fun to do, and I feel like I've been wanting to do it for so long that I've just decided, you know, fuck it. I feel comfortable talking about motorcycles. I know a fair amount, but it's cool. You know, why not? Let's just give it a shot. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Peace out.